The house has gone quiet now. The dishes are done or they are not, and either way it doesn't matter anymore tonight. Somewhere outside a car passes and its lights sweep across the ceiling and disappear. And you are here, finally still, finally horizontal, finally allowed to stop. Sacred presence, I come to you in this hush between one day and the next, in this narrow holy hour when the noise of living finally lets go of my shoulders. I don't always notice how tired I am until I lie down. It's only now in the dark that I feel the weight of everything I carried since the sun came up. The small frictions, the long list, the version of myself I had to be all day long. Divine, meet me here in this softened moment. Let this bed become an altar tonight, not because it is holy in itself, but because I choose right now to lay my whole day down upon it and call it enough. We gather here, all of us who are closing our eyes around this turning world, some in silence, some beside someone breathing steady next to them, some utterly alone in a room that feels too big or too quiet. Wherever we are tonight, Source, gather us into this one shared breath. Let there be, for these few minutes, no distance between any of us who are tired and reaching toward rest. I think of the mother finally sitting down after the last small voice has gone quiet. I think of the man staring at a ceiling fan, doing math on a life that isn't adding up the way he hoped. I think of the young person scrolling long after they meant to stop, chasing something numbing, because sleep feels like surrender to a mind that won't slow down. Great Light, you know each of us by name, by breath, by the particular shape of the day we just survived. You are not a stranger to any of this. Somewhere tonight a nurse is finally sitting down on the edge of a bed after a shift that asked everything of her. Somewhere a father is standing in a dark hallway, listening for a small breath to even out before he allows his own shoulders to drop. Somewhere, someone is lying awake simply because the quiet of night has left them alone with thoughts they've been outrunning since morning. Creator, you see all of it. None of it is hidden from you, and none of it is too small for you to notice. Somewhere someone is lying in an unfamiliar bed in a new city, still learning the sounds of a strange building settling at night. Somewhere someone is lying beside an empty half of the mattress that used to hold another person, and the quiet feels heavier than it used to. Somewhere, a student is finally closing a laptop long after they meant to, worried about a test or a future they can't yet see clearly. Holy Spirit of all things, however different our nights look from one another, let us all find the same door open tonight, the door into rest. So we pause. We let our phones go dark on the nightstand. We let our jaw unclench, our fists uncurl, our whole bodies remember slowly what it feels like to simply be held by something soft beneath us and something larger around us. Creator, teach us tonight how to stop holding on so tightly to a day that has already ended. This is not a performance of peace. This is a real invitation, spoken honestly from wherever we actually are. Tired, wound tight, hopeful, doubtful, or numb from simply getting through. Holy Spirit of all things, you don't need us to arrive polished. You only ask that we arrive. Let the ceiling above me become for these minutes a kind of sky. Let the walls of this room soften into something less like a container and more like shelter. Higher power, however small this space is, however loud the world was today, let this be enough room for you to reach me now. Outside my window, the day's light is long gone, replaced by whatever glow the street lamps or the moon or the quiet dark can offer. Divine, there's something honest about nighttime. It doesn't ask us to pretend. It simply asks us to be still. Let me accept that invitation instead of resisting it the way I sometimes do. I close my eyes not because I have solved everything, but because I trust in this moment that not everything is mine to solve tonight. Divine, that trust is fragile sometimes. Some nights it's barely a whisper, but I'm whispering it now, and I believe that even a whisper reaches. There's a particular kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with hours slept and everything to do with hours held together. The tiredness of a mind that kept vigilant watch all day over things it couldn't control. Source, I feel that tiredness now, low in my chest, behind my eyes, along the back of my neck. I don't need to explain it to you. You already understand it better than I do. I've spent so much of today reacting, responding, adjusting to whatever came at me. Great light, let this be the hour I stop reacting and simply receive stillness, receive quiet, receive whatever peace you have for me tonight, without having to earn it or chase it down. There's a kind of relief that only comes at night, after the last obligation of the day has finally been met, and there's genuinely nothing left to do but exist. Divine, let me actually feel that relief, instead of rushing past it towards sleep. Let me sit in it just for a moment, and notice how rare and good it is. I think, too, of how many nights I've rushed through this exact moment, closing my eyes out of sheer exhaustion rather than genuine peace, falling asleep mid-worry instead of mid-prayer. Sacred Presence, tonight I want to do this differently. I want to actually arrive here fully, before I let myself drift. There's a stillness that settles over a house at this particular hour that doesn't exist at any other time of day. The refrigerator humming quietly in the kitchen, the last light switched off down the hall, the whole world seeming to exhale at once. Higher power, let me notice that stillness rather than rushing past it toward whatever comes next. Whatever time zone this prayer finds you in, whatever kind of darkness surrounds you right now, Divine, let this moment mark a real turning, from the noise of the day into the quiet of true rest. So gather close, whoever is listening in this dark. Let your breath begin to slow with mine. Let this be the hour we stop performing strength and simply ask honestly, humbly for rest. There is so much I carried today that I didn't choose to carry. Sacred Presence, I want to set it down now, piece by piece. The way you'd empty pockets before finally undressing for the night. I carried the argument I keep replaying. The words I wish I'd said differently. The tone in someone's voice that I can't stop turning over. I carried the number on a bill that arrived today, and the quiet fear underneath it. Not just about money, but about whether I'm doing enough, whether I'll always be behind, whether tomorrow will ask more of me than I have to give. Source, I lay all of that down at the edge of this bed tonight. I carried the ache of a body that worked hard today, hands that typed too long, legs that stood too much, a back that complained by 4 in the afternoon and never really stopped. I carried the smaller griefs too, the ones that don't have a name, the friend I haven't called back, the parent getting older in a house across town, the version of my life I thought I'd have by now that hasn't quite arrived. Great light, none of these are dramatic enough to speak out loud to anyone else. But you already know them, so I bring them to you instead. I carried worry for people I love who are struggling in ways I can't fix. A child finding their way, a friend going quiet, someone I care for who is hurting and won't say so directly. Divine, I can't carry their pain for them, and tonight I stop pretending that I can. I release my grip on outcomes that were never mine to control in the first place. I carried the noise. All day, notifications and opinions and other people's urgency pressed against me, asking for a response, a reaction, an answer I didn't have ready. Creator, still that noise now. Let my mind stop composing replies to a day that is finished. Let the arguments I never finished simply end unresolved. And let that be all right for tonight. I carried the low hum of self-judgment too, the sense that I should have done more, said less, handled something better than I did. Holy Spirit of all things, I confess that voice has followed me to bed more nights than I'd like to admit. Tonight I ask you to quiet it, not to erase my mistakes, but to remind me that I am not only the sum of where I fell short today. I carried fear about tomorrow before today was even finished. The meeting I'm dreading, the decision I haven't made, the uncertainty sitting just past the horizon of sleep. Higher power, tomorrow is not here yet. Let me release my hold on it long enough to actually rest tonight, so that whatever tomorrow asks of me, I meet it with something left in the tank. I carried the small disappointments too, the plan that fell through, the reply that never came, the version of today I had hoped for that didn't quite happen. Sacred Presence, I don't have to pretend those disappointments away. I can simply name them, feel their weight for a moment, and then set them down. I carried the strain of being needed by too many people at once, a boss who wanted more, a child who wanted attention, a friend who wanted advice, all while some quiet part of me wanted only to be left alone for 5 uninterrupted minutes. Source, tonight there's no one left to be needed by. I can simply exist, unclaimed, unhurried, entirely mine again. I lay down the roles I played today, the one who had to be patient when I wasn't, capable when I felt shaky, calm when I was anything but. Sacred presence. Underneath all those roles is a tired person just wanting to be held without having to perform anything at all. That's who I bring to you now. I lay down the comparisons too, the glance at someone else's life that made mine feel smaller, the quiet ache of not measuring up to some invisible standard I never agreed to. Source, tonight I release the weight of a life I'm not living, so I can rest inside the one that's actually mine. I lay down the tightness in my chest that came from holding my breath through moments today that scared me a little. An uncertain email, a hard conversation, a decision I second-guessed the moment I made it. Great light, I don't have to keep holding my breath now. I can finally let it out, slow and complete, and let that exhale be the end of it. I lay down the old griefs that sometimes resurface at night without warning. The people no longer in my life. The chapters that closed before I was ready. The losses that don't need a specific reason to surface, just because the room has gone quiet. Divine grief doesn't always ask permission to visit. Tonight, if it visits, let it be gentle rather than sharp. I lay down what I cannot change about today. The words already spoken. The chances already past. The hours already gone. Great light. What's done is done, and I release my grip on rewriting it in my mind tonight. I lay down the pressure to have tomorrow already figured out. Divine, I don't need a plan for every hour ahead before I'm allowed to close my eyes. I only need to trust that when tomorrow comes, I'll meet it one moment at a time, the way I always have before. I lay down the quiet fear that if I stop moving, stop producing, stop being useful, I'll somehow fall behind in a race I never agreed to run. Creator, tonight there is no race. There is only this bed, this breath, this permission to simply exist without output or achievement. I lay down the version of today I wish I'd had, the one where I was more patient, more focused, more the person I want to be. Great light, that version isn't lost forever. It's simply waiting for tomorrow, and tonight I don't have to mourn it. I lay down the habit of rehearsing tomorrow's hard moments before they've even arrived, as if worrying tonight could somehow prepare me better than rest will. Holy Spirit of all things, let me trust that a well-rested version of me will handle tomorrow better than an anxious, sleepless one ever could. I lay down the quiet ache of feeling misunderstood today by someone who didn't listen closely enough, by circumstances that didn't go the way I explained them, by my own inability to say clearly what I meant. Sacred presence, you understand me completely, even the parts I couldn't put into words today. I lay down the small failures of patience, the sharp reply I gave when I meant to be gentle, the sigh I couldn't quite hide, the moment my tiredness showed through in a way I wish it hadn't. Source, tomorrow is another chance to be the person I'm trying to become. Tonight I simply let today's shortcomings be today's, and no more. I lay down the weight of decisions still unmade, the ones I've been circling for days or weeks, unsure which way is right, afraid of choosing wrong. Great light, I don't have to decide anything in this bed tonight. I only have to rest, and trust that clarity will come when it's needed, not before. I lay down the exhaustion of being strong for other people all day, the reassurance I offered when I didn't quite feel it myself, the steady face I put on for someone who needed me to be steady. Holy Spirit of all things, tonight I don't have to be strong for anyone. I can simply be tired and let that be all right. I lay down the quiet effort of holding my composure through small frustrations all day, the traffic, the delay, the interruption that came at exactly the wrong moment. Higher power, none of it deserves more space in my mind tonight than it already took up today. Whatever burden brought you to this prayer tonight, spoken or unspoken, small or enormous, set it down now beside mine. Divine, receive what we cannot carry any further tonight. Let our shoulders remember they were never meant to hold everything alone. Now that my hands are empty, Creator, I ask you simply for rest, not for a perfect life. Not for every problem solved by morning, but for real, deep, restoring sleep tonight. Fill me with a quiet that has room in it for my whole tired self. Let this quiet reach beneath the surface of my thoughts, down to the place where the tension actually lives, in my jaw, my shoulders, the base of my skull, the place behind my eyes that's been working all day, even when I wasn't aware of it. Holy Spirit of all things, loosen what the day tightened. Let me exhale the version of myself that had to keep it together today. I don't have to keep it together right now. Higher power, in this dark, unseen room, I don't have to prove anything to anyone, including myself. Grant us rest that repairs, not just rest that passes the hours. Let sleep tonight be more than an absence of waking. Let it be a genuine mending, cell by cell, thought by thought, the way a tired field is mended by a slow, steady rain. Sacred presence, let my body do the quiet work it knows how to do, undisturbed by racing thoughts or restless turning. Still my mind if it wants to run tonight. You know how it goes. One thought pulls another, and suddenly it's an hour later and I'm rehearsing conversations that haven't happened yet. Source, when that spiral starts, gently interrupt it. Bring my attention back to breath, back to this moment, back to the simple truth that I am safe enough right now to let go. Let me release the myth that I have to solve everything before I'm allowed to rest. Great light, some things are only solved by time, by patience, by simply waking up again tomorrow with a little more clarity than I have tonight. Let me trust that process instead of trying to force resolution in the dark. Grant me the mercy of forgetting, for these hours, the sharper edges of today. Let the argument lose its heat. Let the worry lose its grip. Divine, you don't ask me to carry the full weight of my life every single hour. Let nighttime be the hour I finally believe that. Fill this room with a stillness I can actually feel, not just silence in the air, but a settledness in my chest, a loosening around my ribs, a sense that I am held, even though no hands are visibly holding me. Creator, let that unseen holding be as real to me as anything I could touch. Let me release the tension of trying to control what I cannot control, other people's choices, tomorrow's weather, the outcome of things already set in motion. Holy Spirit of all things, there is relief in finally admitting that some things were never mine to manage. Let that admission feel like rest, not defeat. Grant me freedom tonight from the habit of measuring the day by what I didn't get to. Higher power, let me instead notice the small mercies I did receive, a moment of laughter, a stranger's kindness, a meal that nourished me, a breath that came easy. Let gratitude be the last thought before sleep, instead of regret. Still the part of me that keeps checking, keeps scrolling, keeps reaching for a screen instead of reaching for rest. Sacred presence, that instinct usually isn't really about the screen. It's about not wanting to be alone with my thoughts. Meet me in that loneliness tonight so I don't have to numb it. Let your presence be enough company in the dark. Grant me the kind of sleep that doesn't just end the day, but restores something in me that the day wore down. Source, let me wake tomorrow with steadier hands, a calmer chest, a mind that has actually rested instead of merely paused. Let me release worry for the people I love, trusting that you are with them too, even while I sleep. Great light, I don't have to stay awake to keep watch over everyone. You are already watching. I can finally close my eyes. Grant peace to the parts of me that don't often get comforted, the striving part, the anxious part, the part that feels like it has to earn rest instead of simply receive it. Divine, you don't ask me to earn this. You offer it freely, the way a parent tucks in a child who hasn't done anything except exist and grow tired. Fill this night with a gentleness the day didn't have room for. Creator, let the harshness I encountered today, in traffic, in tone, in my own inner voice, dissolve here in the dark, replaced by something kinder. Let my breathing slow now, truly slow, the way it does just before sleep finally takes hold. Holy Spirit of all things, guide each exhale a little longer than the one before, until my body remembers on its own how to release. Grant rest to my eyes, tired from screens and small print, and the particular strain of a long day looking outward. Higher power, let them finally rest looking at nothing at all, Safe behind closed lids, safe in the dark. Let me feel the mattress beneath me, the way I might have felt it as a child, before I learned to associate lying down with a mind that won't stop working. Sacred presence, teach me that simplicity again, the trust that a bed is only for resting, that closing my eyes doesn't require permission from anyone but you. Grant quiet to the corners of my mind that keep drafting tomorrow's to-do list. Source, that list will still be there in the morning, written or not. Tonight, let it wait. Let me set it on the nightstand along with everything else I've laid down. Let sleep come the way tide comes in, not forced, not rushed, but arriving in its own quiet rhythm. One gentle wave of stillness after another. Great light, I don't have to chase rest. I only have to stop resisting it. Grant me relief from the small, tight places in my body I don't usually notice until I'm finally still. The clenched hands, the raised shoulders, the furrowed brow that's been holding tension since sometime this afternoon. Divine, let each of these places soften one by one. As this prayer continues, let this be a night where my body finally believes what my mind sometimes forgets, that I am safe, that I am allowed to rest, that nothing catastrophic will happen if I simply let go for these next several hours. Creator, plant that belief deep enough that it holds even after this prayer ends. Grant me the grace of uninterrupted sleep. And if I do wake in the night, let me find you there too, steady and unbothered, ready to walk me gently back toward rest. Holy Spirit of all things, don't let the dark hours feel lonely. Let them feel accompanied. Let my feet, tired from standing or walking or simply carrying me through another day, finally rest flat and heavy and unclenched. Higher power, let my hands, so often busy holding something, a phone, a task, a worry, finally rest open and empty at my sides. Grant softness to the muscles across my shoulders that curl forward every time stress arrives uninvited. Sacred presence, let them roll back now. Let them remember what it feels like to simply hang loose instead of braced. Let the part of me that always seems to be listening for the next demand finally stop listening for anything at all tonight. Source, there is nothing more required of me in these hours except rest. No one is calling. Nothing is due. I am simply here. Grant me stillness in the small muscles around my eyes, my temples, the base of my skull, the places where a long day quietly gathers without my noticing until now. Great light, let your peace reach even these small, forgotten places. Let this prayer become less about words now and more about presence, yours beside mine, steady and unhurried, asking nothing of me except to keep breathing, keep softening, keep trusting that I am allowed to stop. Grant me a mind that finally stops narrating, no more replaying, no more rehearsing, no more quietly grading how today went. Divine, let there simply be darkness, breath, and rest without commentary. Let the caregiver reading these words tonight, the one who spent today tending to someone else's needs before their own, finally receive some tending of their own. Higher power, they gave so much today. Let some of that be given back to them now, quietly. In this rest, grant peace to the one who worked a night shift's opposite, whose body doesn't quite know if it's morning or evening, whose rhythm has been asked to bend against its own nature for the sake of a paycheck or a calling. Sacred presence, meet them in whatever hour they find this prayer, and let rest come regardless of the clock. Let the parent up late worrying over a child's choices find, tonight, a moment of release from that particular ache. Source, you love that child more fiercely than even a parent can. Let that truth be a genuine comfort, not just a comforting phrase. Grant ease to the person lying awake after a hard diagnosis, a scary appointment, or a body that isn't cooperating the way it used to. Great light, I don't ask for guaranteed outcomes tonight, only for a measure of peace strong enough to carry them through these dark hours. Let the one grieving someone they loved find, in this quiet, a sense that love doesn't actually end when a person is gone. Divine, let grief be allowed its full weight tonight without judgment, and let rest come anyway, even alongside sorrow. Grant calm to the person facing a big day tomorrow, an interview, A surgery, a hard goodbye, a first day somewhere new. Creator, let the nervous energy in their chest settle enough to let sleep in, so they arrive tomorrow with steadier nerves than they have right now. Let the one who feels like they're starting over, after a loss, a move, an ending they didn't choose, find in this rest a small reminder that beginnings, even hard ones, are still allowed to include comfort. Holy Spirit of all things, let their exhaustion be met with genuine gentleness tonight. Grant quiet to the mind of someone managing more responsibility than feels fair, running a household, running a business, running on far less sleep than they need. Higher power, let tonight be the exception, the pause, the hour where none of that is required of them. Let the person who feels unseen in their ordinary, unremarkable day know that you notice the small, faithful things they did today that no one applauded. Sacred presence. An unnoticed life is never an unnoticed life to you. Grant rest to the one whose mind keeps drifting to regret, a friendship that ended badly, a choice they wish they could undo, a version of themselves from years ago they're still making peace with. Source, let tonight be one more small step toward forgiving themselves. Let the anxious heart, racing even now despite every word of this prayer, find a slower rhythm. Great light, you don't require anxiety to disappear instantly. You only ask permission to sit beside it until it softens. Grant the tired body of someone working 2 jobs, or one exhausting job, or no job at all and carrying the particular weight that comes with searching, a measure of dignity and rest tonight, regardless of their circumstances. Divine worth was never tied to a paycheck, and rest was never something only the comfortable deserve. Let the newly married and the recently divorced, the newly parenting and the newly grieving, the ones celebrating tonight and the ones simply enduring it, all find their way into this same wide welcoming rest. Creator, your peace was never rationed. There's enough for every different night in this room and every room like it. Grant softness to whatever old wound this quiet hour sometimes reopens, the childhood that wasn't safe enough, the trust that was broken, the love that didn't arrive when it was needed most. Holy Spirit of all things, meet that wound gently. It doesn't have to be fully healed tonight to be held tonight. Let the one who struggles to receive rest at all, who feels guilty resting, who feels lazy resting, who has been taught that worth is only found in doing, hear this clearly. Rest is not the opposite of a good life. It is part of one. Higher power, let that truth finally land somewhere it can take root. Grant peace to the part of me still bracing for something to go wrong, still half expecting the day's stress to follow me into sleep. Sacred presence, let me notice that bracing, and let me consciously choose, breath by breath, to release it instead. Let sleep be gentle toward the parts of my story I haven't told anyone yet, the private fear, the quiet hope, the thing I'm not ready to say out loud. Source, you already know it. You don't need me to explain it before you'll hold it with care. Grant rest that reaches into the coming week too, not just tonight. A rest so real that its effects carry forward into tomorrow's patience, tomorrow's clarity, tomorrow's ability to meet whatever comes with steadiness instead of depletion. Great light, let this be more than a single night's relief. Let the part of me that keeps rehearsing what I'll say tomorrow, word for word, as though rehearsing enough could guarantee the outcome, finally set that script down. Divine, tomorrow will unfold in its own way regardless of how many times I've practiced it tonight. Let me trust that and rest instead. Grant quiet to whatever quiet argument is still playing on a loop somewhere in the back of my mind, the one where I finally say the perfect thing, or finally win the point, or finally get the last word. Sacred presence, that argument is over. Let it stay over. Let me release the low, persistent worry about money that so many of us carry to bed some nights, not because the worry isn't real, but because worrying harder in the dark has never once made a bill smaller or a paycheck bigger. Source, give me enough peace tonight to face those numbers with a clearer head tomorrow. Grant softness to the part of me still holding on to today's small humiliations, the moment I stumbled over my words, the mistake someone noticed, the awkwardness I can't stop replaying. Great light. Most of it was forgotten by everyone else the moment it happened. Let me finally forget it too. Let the ache of loneliness, if it's present tonight, be met by your presence rather than pushed away or numbed. Divine, you are not far from anyone who feels alone tonight, even in a room full of silence. Let that nearness be felt, not just believed. Grant patience to the part of me waiting on something that hasn't come yet. An answer, a healing, a change I've been hoping for longer than I expected to. Creator, waiting is its own kind of labor. Let tonight's rest be real relief from that labor, even while the waiting itself continues. Let the version of me who feels behind in life, behind on savings, behind on goals, behind some timeline I set for myself years ago, release that comparison tonight. Holy Spirit of all things, there is no universal schedule I'm failing to keep. There is only this life, unfolding at its own pace. Grant ease to the muscles around my heart, the ones that tighten with worry more than any physical strain ever could. Higher power, let my chest loosen. Let my breathing deepen. Let whatever emotional weight I've been carrying finally have somewhere safe to set down. Let sleep come especially gently to anyone tonight who is afraid of the dark in ways that have nothing to do with actual darkness. Afraid of silence. Afraid of being alone with their thoughts. Afraid of what might surface once the distractions of the day are gone. Sacred presence, meet that fear directly. Let your presence outshine it. Grant relief to the person whose body simply won't stop moving, even when they're desperate to be still. The restless legs, the racing pulse, the mind that keeps insisting there's one more thing to check. Source, slow that restlessness now gently, the way a hand might rest calmly on a trembling shoulder. Let me release any shame about needing this prayer at all, about not being able to simply will myself into rest, about needing help settling down at the end of an ordinary day. Great light, needing comfort is not a weakness. It is simply what it means to be human. Grant peace to the parent lying awake listening for a baby's cry, caught in that particular exhaustion that comes from sleeping with one ear open, always half alert, never quite fully resting. Divine, let their body find what rest it can, even in these seasons where full rest feels impossible. And when the cry does come, let there be enough strength waiting for them. Let the one recovering from illness or injury, whose body is doing quiet, unseen work simply by healing, feel permission to rest without guilt over everything left undone. Sacred presence, healing is not laziness. It is some of the hardest, most necessary work a body can do. Grant comfort to the person who moved recently and hasn't yet learned to feel at home in this particular darkness, this particular set of sounds, this unfamiliar ceiling above them. Source, let this new place slowly begin to feel like shelter rather than simply a stop along the way. Let the one estranged from a family member, carrying the complicated grief of a relationship that isn't what it used to be or never quite became what they hoped, find some ease tonight. Great light, not every wound closes quickly. Let peace still be possible in the meantime. Grant quiet confidence to the one who made a hard, necessary choice today, setting a boundary, saying no, walking away from something that wasn't serving them, even if it left them second-guessing themselves tonight. Divine, let them trust that choice a little more by morning. Let the person who spent today comparing their body, their income, their relationships, their entire life to a stream of curated images, find real rest from that particular exhaustion tonight. Creator, let them remember that what they saw today was only ever a fraction of someone else's story, never the whole of it. Grant ease to whoever is nursing a private disappointment tonight, a promotion that went to someone else, a relationship that didn't become what they hoped, a dream still sitting further off than they expected by this point in life. Holy Spirit of all things, let disappointment be allowed its place tonight without becoming the only thing they feel. Let the one facing a long season of hard things, not just one difficult day but many strung together, find enough strength in this rest to keep going without needing every answer right now. Higher power, sustain them through the length of this season, one restored night at a time. Grant safety and calm to anyone lying awake tonight because their environment doesn't yet feel safe. A difficult home, an uncertain situation, a body still learning that the danger has passed. Sacred Presence, meet them exactly where they are, and let even a small measure of peace be possible amid real difficulty. Let this prayer be a resting place, not just a recited one, words that actually change something in the body, in the breath, in the tightly wound places we don't always notice until someone names them out loud. Sirs, let that be true for me and for everyone listening tonight. Grant the traveler far from home tonight, sleeping in an unfamiliar bed in a hotel or a spare room or the back seat of a car, a sense of being just as held here as they would be in their own bed. Great Light, distance from home is never distance from you. Let the one caring for an aging parent, quietly grieving the slow loss of who that parent used to be, even while still loving who they are now, find rest from that particular complicated exhaustion tonight. Divine, this kind of tiredness runs deep, and it deserves deep rest in return. Grant peace to the person who spent today masking how much they were struggling, smiling through a hard shift, answering "I'm fine" when they weren't, holding it together in front of people who needed them to. Sacred Presence, you don't need the mask. You already see what's underneath it, and you receive all of it with tenderness. Let the one who prayed today and didn't feel an answer, who reached out and heard only silence, find in this quiet a reminder that silence is not the same as absence. Holy Spirit of all things, you are near even in the moments I cannot feel you, and I choose to trust that nearness tonight. Grant rest to the one whose faith feels shaky tonight, unsure what they believe, unsure if any of this is real, praying more out of hope than certainty. Higher Power, you welcome the uncertain prayer just as fully as the confident one. There is room here for doubt. Let the one who worked hard today toward a goal that still feels far away find enough patience tonight to keep going tomorrow without needing to see the whole path laid out in advance. Sirs, most good things take longer to build than we'd like. Let that truth be encouraging rather than discouraging tonight. Grant comfort to the child in every one of us, still listening for reassurance before sleep. The part that, no matter our age, still wants to be told that everything is going to be okay. Great Light, let that reassurance come now, gently the way it once did from someone who tucked us in. Let the one who spent today holding grief and gratitude at the same time, thankful for what they have while missing what they've lost, find room tonight for both feelings to exist without cancelling each other out. Divine joy and sorrow are allowed to sit side by side in the same tired heart. Grant rest to the one who gave more today than they had left to give. The last bit of patience, the final ounce of energy, the effort that came from somewhere past empty. Sacred Presence, let tonight's rest replenish what today's giving depleted, so tomorrow doesn't have to start from empty too. Let whoever is afraid, in this exact moment, that rest won't come no matter how hard they try. Find a gentler outcome than they expect. Great Light, sleep rarely responds well to force. Let it arrive instead the way it always eventually does, quietly in its own time. Once the trying finally stops, grant a measure of hope to whoever feels tonight like their circumstances will never change. The same struggle, the same waiting, the same wait, night after night. Higher Power, seasons do shift, even the long ones. Let tonight's rest be one small real step toward whatever change is still ahead. Let the ones who cannot sleep near people they love tonight, separated by distance, by circumstance, by choices outside anyone's control, feel less far apart than the miles suggest. Source love travels further than distance ever could. Let that closeness be real tonight, not just remembered. Grant a settled heart to the one making a big change soon, a move, a new job, a new stage of life just beginning, who lies awake tonight somewhere between excitement and fear. Great Light, let both feelings be welcome, and let neither one keep them from the rest they need before tomorrow's next step. Let the one who feels they've prayed this same prayer, or one like it, too many nights in a row without visible change, find renewed patience rather than resignation. Divine persistence in seeking you is never wasted, even on the nights it feels repetitive. You are not tired of hearing from me, even if I sometimes tire of asking. Grant stillness to the mind that keeps drafting apologies it hasn't given yet, or the ones it's still waiting to receive. Holy Spirit of all things, reconciliation has its own timing, and tonight isn't the night to force it. Let both the giving and the receiving wait for their proper hour, and let sleep come regardless. Let this final stretch of prayer settle deep enough into the body that it outlasts the words themselves, into the shoulders, the breath, the quiet space behind the ribs where worry likes to live. Sacred presence, let peace take up residence there instead. At least for tonight, at least until morning. Sacred presence, whatever tonight has been, hard or easy, lonely or shared, anxious or calm, let it end gently. Let sleep come not as an escape from my life, but as a genuine gift within it. Source, hold what I cannot hold tonight. Watch over what I cannot watch. Finish in your own quiet way what I did not get to finish today. Even in the middle of setting this day down, great light, I want to pause and simply say thank you. Thank you for another day lived, imperfect as it was. Thank you for breath that came without my having to think about it. For a heartbeat that kept its steady rhythm through every stress and every small joy alike. Divine, I don't often notice these quiet mercies until I slow down enough at night to remember them. Thank you for the people who made today softer, a familiar voice, an unexpected kindness, someone who simply asked how I was doing and meant it. Creator, even on hard days you sent small proofs that I am not facing this life entirely alone. Thank you for this bed, this roof, this small warm room that some nights I take completely for granted. Holy Spirit of all things, not everyone has this much tonight, and I don't want to let that truth pass by unnoticed. Let gratitude for what I have soften any resentment about what I don't. Thank you for the moments today that felt like grace, even though I almost missed them. Sunlight through a window, a song that caught me off guard, a stranger's small smile that cost them nothing but meant something to me. Higher power, help me carry more awareness of those moments into tomorrow. Thank you too for the ordinary rhythms of the day that I rarely think to thank you for. A warm meal, clean water, a door that locks, a working pair of legs that carried me from place to place without my even having to ask them to. Sacred presence, these are not small things. I've simply forgotten to notice how large they are. Thank you for the version of me that kept going today, even when it was hard. The one who answered one more message, made one more meal, showed up for one more small responsibility even while running low. Source, I don't always give myself credit for that quiet perseverance. Tonight, let me receive a little of the credit you'd give me freely. I trust tonight that this prayer is heard, not because I feel some dramatic sign, but because I choose to believe that whispered honesty, spoken from a tired heart, reaches you exactly as it is. Sacred presence, I don't need proof tonight. I only need enough faith to close my eyes. I trust that you are already at work on the things I cannot fix by staying awake and worrying about them. Source, the version of me that believes everything depends on my vigilance is exhausted and wrong. Let me practice tonight, believing something gentler and that I can rest, and life will still hold together. I trust that tomorrow will bring what it brings, and that I will meet it with a version of myself that had the mercy of real sleep tonight. Great light. Let that trust be more than a nice idea. Let it actually settle into my chest as something I feel, not just something I say. I trust that the people I love are held by something larger than my worry for them. Divine, I release my grip on staying awake for their sake, believing instead that you are near them too, in whatever room or city or hour they are in tonight. I trust that the hard conversation I've been avoiding, the decision I haven't made, the uncertainty I've been circling, none of it requires me to solve it in the dark. Creator, morning will come with its own clarity. Tonight only requires rest. I trust that rest is not a small or selfish thing, but a necessary one, that a rested version of me is more patient, more present, more capable of the very love and effort I want to offer tomorrow. Creator, let me stop treating exhaustion like a badge of honor and start treating rest like the gift it actually is. I trust that whatever chapter of life I'm currently in, building, waiting, healing, starting over, is not hidden from you, and that you are patient with me even when I'm not patient with myself. Holy Spirit of all things, let that patience of yours become a little more mine tonight. Thank you for this quiet hour. Thank you for a body that, despite everything, still knows how to rest if I'll simply let it. Holy Spirit of all things, thank you for meeting me exactly here, exactly like this, without requiring anything more polished or prepared. I trust this prayer is already doing its quiet work in me, loosening what needed loosening, settling what needed settling. Higher power, I don't have to feel instantly peaceful for this to be true. Sometimes peace arrives slowly, the way warmth spreads through cold hands held near a fire. I trust that even my doubts are welcome here. The nights when faith feels thin, when peace feels far away, when I'm not sure any of this is being heard at all. Divine, I bring that doubt honestly rather than hiding it, and I trust that you meet me in it, rather than turning away. Thank you for the reminders today that life still holds beauty even in its difficulty. A good laugh, a warm drink, a moment of unexpected ease in the middle of a hard stretch. Great light, let me carry a fuller awareness of these gifts, so they don't slip past me unnoticed the way they sometimes do. I trust that even the parts of today I'd rather forget were not wasted, that some quiet lesson or small strength came from getting through them, even if I can't name it yet. Divine, let me trust the shape of my life even when I can't see its full pattern. I trust that this rest tonight is not a pause from a meaningful life, but the very thing that makes a meaningful life possible. Creator, thank you for designing me, designing all of us, to need this softness, this stopping, this surrender on a nightly basis. It is not a flaw. It is a gift. Thank you for the quiet strength I didn't know I had until today required it of me. Holy Spirit of all things, I so often underestimate my own resilience until I look back at the end of a hard day and realize I made it through after all. I trust that even on the days I felt like I was simply surviving rather than thriving, something good was still happening beneath the surface. Growth I can't yet see, patience being built, character being shaped in ways only visible in hindsight. Divine, let me trust that quiet process tonight. Thank you for meeting me in the ordinary moments as much as the extraordinary ones, not just in crisis, not just in celebration, but in the plain, unremarkable middle of an average Tuesday. Sacred presence. Most of life happens in that middle place, and I'm grateful you're present there too. Thank you for second chances, for the ones I've already been given today without even noticing, and for the ones waiting for me tomorrow. Great light. Life keeps offering fresh starts even when I don't feel like I deserve them, and I'm grateful for that quiet, patient grace. Thank you for teaching me, slowly and patiently, over many nights like this one, that I don't have to hold everything together to be worthy of rest. Divine, that lesson keeps needing to be relearned, and I'm grateful you keep offering it as often as I need it. Thank you for the version of tomorrow I haven't met yet, for the small mercies it will hold, the unexpected kindnesses, the moments that will surprise me the way today's did. Creator, I trust there will be good in it, even the parts I can't yet imagine. So thank you gently, honestly for this day and this rest that is coming. Sacred presence. Whatever tomorrow holds, tonight I choose gratitude over worry, trust over vigilance, rest over striving. And now, as sleep draws nearer source, let this simple blessing settle over the room like a soft, familiar blanket. May your breath grow slow and easy, and may your body finally believe it is safe to let go. May whatever weighed on your chest tonight lighten enough for real sleep to come. May you wake tomorrow steadier than you fell asleep tonight, with a little more strength than you had when this day began. Great light, bless this room with quiet. Bless this bed with true rest. Bless whoever hears these words tonight with a peace that doesn't depend on their circumstances being perfect, but simply on being held exactly as they are. Right now, in this dark and gentle hour, divine. If worry tries to return once these words have ended, meet it there too. Let this blessing linger longer than the sound of it, quietly working through the night, like a low and steady light left on in another room, unseen, But there, may the ache that brought you here tonight begin even just slightly to loosen. May the mind that raced today find a quieter pace tonight. Creator, may sleep hold you the way a shoreline holds the tide, gently, patiently, without any effort at all. May whoever is lying awake beside this prayer, in whatever city, whatever room, whatever kind of night they're having, feel a little less alone in these final moments before sleep. Holy Spirit of all things, let this shared quiet be proof enough that none of us are truly facing our nights in isolation. Creator, let sleep come now, soft and unhurried, the way evening finally settles fully into night. Let this be a rest that restores, a stillness that heals, a quiet that holds every one of us who leaned into it tonight. Higher power, bless the hours between now and morning. Let them pass gently, undisturbed, filled with whatever kind of rest each of us most needs tonight, dreamless and deep, or soft and drifting, whatever restores us best. Holy Spirit of all things, carry this peace beyond tonight and into tomorrow's first waking moment, so that the calm we found here doesn't simply vanish with the morning light, but lingers quietly underneath whatever the day brings. Great light, let this blessing reach every room this prayer is spoken in tonight, the small apartments, the quiet houses, the hospital rooms, the dorm rooms, the cars pulled over on the side of a long drive home. Let peace not be confined to one kind of place, but let it travel wherever tired hearts are listening. Divine, may the version of me who wakes tomorrow carry a little more patience than the version who fell asleep tonight. May the rest I receive become, in some small and quiet way, a gift I pass on to whoever I meet tomorrow. A softer word, a steadier presence, a little more grace than I might have offered on a more exhausted day. Sacred presence, bless the transition between waking and sleeping, that strange, tender threshold where the mind finally stops resisting and simply lets the body lead. Let that threshold be crossed gently tonight without struggle, without one more lap around the same worried thought. Great light, let this blessing be simple enough to remember on the hardest nights and deep enough to sustain us through the easiest ones. A peace not dependent on circumstance, but rooted in something steadier than any single day could ever be. Source, whatever this night holds for each of us, let it end the same way, safely, gently held. Let the last thought before sleep be one of trust rather than worry, of rest rather than striving, of being loved rather than being alone. Divine, let this be the final word before sleep takes over completely. You are near, the night is safe, and rest is finally, fully allowed. May this blessing follow you gently into whatever dreams come, and may you wake tomorrow not with dread, but with a quiet readiness for whatever the day holds. Great light, let the peace of tonight become the foundation of tomorrow, rather than something left behind when the sun rises. Higher power, watch over this room, this house, this small corner of the world until morning comes. Let nothing disturb the rest that's beginning now, and let whatever does arrive in the night be met with the same steady peace that's settling in right now, and so gently we let go. May you rest deeply. May you wake renewed,